So I want to share with you, as someone who lived in Israel for 13 years, I moved there after, I didn't originally move there. I went there to study for a month after high school. And then they kind of brainwashed me. No, they taught me a lot of good Torah, and I ended up staying there for 13 years. And so I just want to share with you a few things I like about Israel, just from my personal experience. All right, one thing that I like about Israelis, in general, the Israeli culture, that they go with the flow. So that can be fun, but it can be complicated too. So the first time I was exposed to it was when I was in yeshiva, and so a lot of the guys were getting married. So I was invited to different weddings. So the first few weddings I went to, I used to get there, try to get there on time, a little bit early, maybe a half hour early, and 45 minutes early. I get there, set up, and I realized I was one of the only people there. Israelis have their own time schedules. So when things are called for a certain time, they're on their own schedule. So that can be a downside to it, of going with the flow. We'll get there when we get there, and everyone says that. In the end, the wedding starts usually an hour after the time that it's set. So if you're an American, know that and take that into account. Israeli time is a little bit different. On the flip side of that, though, when I embraced that, going with the flow, I was able to really get to have some really powerful experiences. One time I was sitting around, and one of my friends says, "Let's go take a tour of the north. Let's go visit all the graves of the holy people, and it's going to be a 3-day trip. Are you ready to do it? I'm leaving now." And if I was in my American state of mind, I'd be like, "Well, listen, I have to plan it out." As we didn't talk about it. I said, "Let's do it. Let's go." And that was one of the more powerful spiritual experiences I had. So sometimes you have to be open, and Israel taught me that. The culture taught me that, to be open to new things. Sometimes things present themselves, you have to go with them and go with the flow. So there's a lot of spontaneity. Sometimes it can cause chaos, but on the other hand, it can be really fun, and I like that also about the Israelis. I feel like they just go with the flow of things, and they don't get sometimes too caught up in all the details, which has its pluses and minuses, of course. Another thing is, I like about the culture, I like the confidence and the strength in the culture. So not the first time, but one of the times, the downside of this is one time I was at a Beitar Yerushalayim soccer game. This is Jerusalem's soccer team, and me and my dad, we were waiting in line. And Israelis, they're very confident, sometimes aggressive people. I don't know if anyone's been there, they've experienced that. So we were standing in line, like you're supposed to do at the game, and we were standing in a certain place. And it was 20 minutes later, and I was chatting with my dad, and I looked to him. I said, "Dad, why are we farther back in line than when we started?" We thought we were moving forward, but all these Israelis were it's cutting line, getting in front of us, and there were some guys actually climbed over the wall to get into the game. So that's maybe the downside of that, just just asserting yourself wherever you need. But on the other hand, I feel like I really value that about the Israelis, that they're strong, they're confident people. Kids grow up in a culture where you're fighting for your life. They have friends, family who have been through wars. At age 20, American might be playing video games, shooting enemies. Israelis, they've been through 2 years of war, of training. So it's a different mindset, and you have a certain confidence, certain inner strength, a certain maturity in that culture. People are dealing with, real life, life-threatening situations there, and that helps you focus on what's important. So I feel like I would value that strength, the maturity, and the confidence of the culture. A last thing that I like a lot, that I miss, is I like the togetherness of being in Israel. I felt like whenever I was there, I was always with my people, wherever I went. Especially on a Shabbos in a religious neighborhood, that is an awesome feeling. You step out of your house, it's all just all your people. It's something really powerful about it. It's like being at home, being with your family. It's like going away, summer camp, that's fun. When you come home, you're with your family, it's a different type of feeling. So I really appreciate that. A flip side to that is sometimes you can feel like you're a little too together with everybody. So example of this was one time I was on a bus, and in Israel, because everybody, it's like your home and everyone's a big family, everyone you meet, they just start talking to you if you're open to talking to them. And so I was on a bus, and I remember I was like on this bus with this one person, asked me questions about this, that, and the other. Like after a half hour, that person knew more about me, and I think like some of like my not best friends, but like somewhat close friends, like they knew all the. So that's cool, but sometimes that can get a little. You have to set boundaries, because it can just. I don't know. You have to build those things. It takes time to get to those places. You can't just like jump right in. But on the other hand, I really like the side that wherever I go, I feel at home. I feel comfortable. I feel loved. And even with neighbors, if you need something, oftentimes the neighbor won't just give you an egg. They'll invite you in your house and they'll make you an egg. You know what I'm saying? Or it's just like it's a different vibe. It's a different feeling. I've been living in different communities here, and like. It's taken like years till I get to talk to some of my neighbors, but there it's like they're actually kind of sometimes they're trying to like live in your house. So it's going to be nice and not nice. But anyway, I like that togetherness.